Hey there, future gazillionaires, tired of your soul-crushing commute? Sick of your boss's motivational posters? Well, have we got a job for you? It pays a cool $1 million a year, comes with ocean views, and the only dress code is waterproof. Sounds pretty sweet, right? There's just one tiny catch. It's being a lighthouse keeper. And no, we're not talking about some cushy automated gig. We're talking old school, isolated, battling the elements kind of stuff. Think you got what it takes? Buckle up, Buttercup, because things are about to get salty. Okay, let's break it down. What does a lighthouse keeper? Sure, there's the whole keeping the light on thing, but we're talking maintenance people. Oiling gears, checking bulbs, which are your standard refrigerator size, and fighting off rust with the vigor of a caffeine-fueled barnacle. And don't forget the isolation. We're talking weeks, maybe months alone. Your only companions, the crashing waves, the occasional seagull, and maybe a ghost or two. Lighthouses are for those. Being a lighthouse keeper isn't just about flipping switches and dodging rogue waves. It's a job steeped in history, responsibility, and a whole lot of what was I thinking. These brave souls were often the first line of defense against shipwrecks, using flags, flares, and even just the sheer power of yelling really loudly to warn ships away from treacherous rocks. Let's talk about the elephant seal in the room, isolation. Being a lighthouse keeper means long stretches of solitude, and we're not talking about that blissful me time with a face mask and a good book. This is the kind of quiet that makes you start talking to the wall and then start worrying when the walls talk back. It takes a special kind of person to handle the mental and emotional toll of being constantly surrounded by nothing but water and the howling wind. Section 5, A History of Loneliness. From fire beacons to automation. Lighthouses have been around for centuries, guiding sailors with everything from bonfires to cutting-edge lenses. And for just as long, there have been people tasked with keeping those lights burning. It was a lonely job, often passed down through generations. Families lived in these isolated towers, braving storms, loneliness, and the occasional rogue wave crashing through the living room window. But as technology advanced, lighthouses became automated. The need for resident keepers dwindled, leaving behind empty towers and a sense of forgotten history. Section 6. The only thing louder than the storm. Stories from the edge of the world. Don't just take our word for it. Let's hear from the people who've lived the lighthouse life. I once spent 6 months with a seagull named Steve as my only companion, recalls former keeper Arthur Salty Smith. Turns out Steve wasn't a very good conversationalist. And then there's Brenda Beacon-Jones, who fondly remembers, the winters were the worst. The waves would crash over the tower and the wind sounded like a banshee trying to break in. Let's just say I went through a lot of tea kettles that year. Section 7, no Wi-Fi and your boss is a seagull. Why nobody wants this gig? So let's recap. You've got isolation, extreme weather, and more maintenance work than a 70s disco. Did we mention the lack of pizza delivery? But hey, it's $1 million a year, right? Well, here's the thing about money. It can't buy you happiness, a stable internet connection, or someone to play Scrabble with who isn't a seagull. It's no wonder these jobs are harder to fill than a leaky bucket in a hurricane. Section 8. From isolation to Instagram, modern lighthouses, and the allure of the remote. But wait, before you swear off lighthouses forever, there's a new wave, pun intended, of lighthouse living. Some automated lighthouses are being repurposed as unique rentals or artist retreats. Imagine waking up to the sound of the ocean, with nothing but breathtaking views and the smell of salt air. Plus, with today's technology, you can be as connected or disconnected as you like. It seems even in the age of instant gratification, there's still something alluring about the simplicity and solitude of a lighthouse. Section 9. So you still want that $1 million. So there you have it. The $1 million lighthouse keeper job. It's a chance to step back in time, test your mettle against the forces of nature, and maybe even write that novel you've been putting off. Just remember to pack your rain gear, your sense of humor, and maybe a year's supply of instant ramen. You know, just in case the seagull delivery service is down.